Alright guys, hopefully I get this done in one take. We start with the Sega logo. It's a Konami game. I want to point out, originally, let me go ahead and mute this. Originally I wanted to do Harmony of Dissonance on the Game Boy Advance. I could not get the capture software to work with that. Anyhow, the story here is pretty basic. You're traveling essentially around Europe. If you've played Castlevania in the past, it's the same four themes you might have seen before. This lady is essentially supposed to be Elizabeth Bathory. So now, as it says, you have two characters to choose from here, and one essentially has a lance or a spear, whatever you want to call it. The other has the classic Castlevania whip. So when I start here, I'm going to go ahead and go down to options, and I'm going to set my player level up to 5 because these console games, guys, they're pretty rough. So I'm going to go ahead and pick John Morris. He's got the whip. It's Simon Belmont type character from the classic Castlevania. We're going to start Romania here, obviously. So here's kind of a little intro cutscene. I want to say this is probably one of the best looking games on the Sega Genesis. If you're fond of that system, this is a must-have. And once again, I'm playing this on an emulator. I'm not actually playing this on a Sega Genesis controller, so these are tropes you will find throughout the Castlevania series. You'll jump, you'll hit candles. That is essentially almost like Mario would have coins. The power-ups come in the form of the boomerang, the axe. There you just see I picked up kind of, it would be like Mario having the star, you might say. They're very rare in this game that you find them, but I guess they throw you a bone there in the first stage. So right here you can see I have the axe as my secondary weapon. And these guys can be kind of tough on you. These games are really, I don't know what the word is. They've got their own sense of movement and physics, I guess you could say. Your character jumps much more realistic than, say, Super Mario would. So sometimes it's best just to get out of dodge and keep moving rather than trying to fight other enemies. And you will find very narrow spaces that you might miss, and it will cost you precious lives in the process. So as you can see, I'm moving away from the guy to here, and we're panning here to the next scene. But once again, I love the graphic palette on the Sega Genesis for this. It works, and to be honest, once you start to get in, a side note here, some of these smaller characters like the bats can be more difficult than the bosses, or cost you more in the long run. So here's one of the bosses. As we can see, it's big sprites, big animation, cool character. I'm whipping the crap out of him, as you can see. He's pretty easy. That's that basic pattern where he's spitting the flame there, and then he goes down. Boom. And one thing to note on the Genesis, it has much less clipping than the Super Nintendo, which seems to drop frames when things get really busy. So here we go, your typical Castlevania skeletons. Once again, the candles are almost like your coins, and you use those in correlation to your secondary weapon here. It's almost like your ammunition. So, and once again, I hate to say it, I'm kind of making this look easy. This is kind of a tricky game. Probably up there on the. It's not quite as difficult as the Super Nintendo, but I was kind of a late bloomer to this series, and I love the artwork and the play style is very addictive. So here we go. We've got big moving sprites in the background. You've got a moving platform there. The jump is more realistic, as I was saying. It's more how a human would actually jump as opposed to Super Mario where you float in the ground, or float in the air rather. And as you can see, I just fell to the ground. So I'm coming back up here. And with guys like this, yeah, you want to use that range on that whip. The whip has 3 different levels. So you start with the basic whip. It powers up, you go to the next whip, and then eventually it's almost like a lightsaber, for lack of a better term. But anyway, you can see I'm moving over here these platforms quickly with the spikes, more skeletons. I love this background with the moving sickle. It's almost like a precursor maybe to like Killer Instinct. It's almost like Pseudo pre-rendered graphics, really cool. So as you can see, I'm moving through here. This guy's got a mace he's swinging. And look at the background animation, the attention to detail, like the zombies hanging up. And once again, this has destructible environments. As you can see, I just got that power up, and this is a really cool scene. As you can see, I'm going up and the thing's crumbling. I missed that. That would have been a 1-up. I haven't played this game in a while. So now I'm moving forward once again. I've got the ultimate power up on my whip. He's dead. Boom. Got the points. Now I'm climbing the stairs, which is up. It's a very essential part of this game, because if you do not capture that up button, you will fall. And they're not very forgiving as far as lives go. So this would be the first boss we encounter. And I'm not really... Obviously he's got a particular attack pattern, but I'm not sure if there's... I know his parts are coming apart as his armor's falling apart as you're hitting him. I'm not sure if there's a rhyme or a reason. I typically just duck and hit him, and if I have to, I'll use my special weapon, which in this case is the boomerang. So... here we go. He's pretty easy. He's jump, dodge. You got a couple platforms you can use. And he made that jump. He didn't hit me. He's going down. And once again, I'll remind Super Nintendo's got Castlevania 4, which is an awesome game. And a lot of these bosses have large moving sprites. Big at this point, there was a lot of clipping on the Super Nintendo version, because you would have 4 or 5 heads, these dragon heads moving at you, and you'd start losing frames. Okay, so here we go. Next place. Obviously, we're still in Europe here. We're in Greece now. So this level is very interesting, especially in terms of how they use the graphics. You can see the mirrored surface kind of on the bottom. Very cool. And this guy is tricky. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did this on an emulator, but I basically played it through, but I did use a save state or two just because the software had a 10-minute limitation. And you can see there I just picked up that blue power-up. To me, it's almost useless sometimes. So here I keep moving, try to avoid any type of, and this is really a technical kind of showcase here for the Sega Genesis. As you can see, the level's scrolling up, and if you haven't played this level a few times, it's pretty tricky. If you are to submerge yourself above basically the character's head, you'll lose hit points very quickly. So if you were to fall in that water right now, you'd be dead. So it's really a timing game. You're trying to move one step kind of ahead of the water scrolling below you, and any of these objects, like this little object here, it can knock you straight into the water and kill you. Same goes for any of these enemies. So as you can see, I'm trying to move ahead of the camera, and this is an extremely tight game. The controls are tight. it feels good. Let's put it like that. So if you own a Genesis or if you play emulators, whatever, you got a controller. Once again, I played this with a PC, an older Eliminator I picked up from a Goodwill. So this is not me playing on the Genesis. And this guy here, this is really cool game design. The water is the water below, as you can see, is rising every second. So if you are not quick to attack this guy, your character will drown. And I'm making it look easy here, but trust me, this will take you a couple of attempts. Because if you miss a couple hits, that water's going to be up above your head. Once again, I love the graphical style with this game, and when you see pauses, it's typically because I'm checking my video capture software just to make sure everything's still going. And so here we keep moving. And these guys, once again, these can be some of your worst enemies, some of these smaller kind of pests, for lack of a better term. So here we go. This is another one of these large bosses I was talking about, the moving sprites. And this guy, his pattern, this is classic, guys. Close range, you get in on him, he's got a follow-up, and this is really cool. This guy is more of like a hit-and-run type of guy. You hit him, you run away. In this case, I have a power-up, so it's helping me out a little bit, but kind of try to capture this footage just as I'd be playing it. So I'm gonna keep going, and now here I'll go down this staircase. Okay, this is another interesting level. Probably another reason I hit pause. And I probably either. Okay, so here once again, this is almost like parallax scrolling. The design here is genius. If you fall in the water, you're dead. And then at the same time, you have these Medusa heads, which anybody that's played Castlevania will know. They weave in and out. There's a certain pattern to them. You can duck them, you can jump them, you can hit them, but they can be the bane of your existence. They're no fun. So, as you can see here, I practiced this level a couple times so I can get through it without, you know. Obviously here I'm still at 2 life there. Now I'm dead. So, just to show you there how quickly that can happen. So here we go. We start over, and once again these platforms you want to navigate along. Because if your character, if he's submerged in the water, you're going to lose probably 3 HP, I think, every time, or every second, probably. So, that's a power-up I just picked up. I'm going to run, jump, avoid that head, jump down. And once again, how cool this level is. You've got the, kind of like the ruined Colosseums in the background with the pillars, and the art style in this game is amazing always. But this is kind of a hidden gem. I don't think Bloodlines quite gets the attention it probably deserves. So here we go, and I'm moving along on to the next one. So these guys are kind of tricky. They're gonna push ahead. And these jumps, guys, are, once again, I kind of make them look easy, but if you played Castlevania, the older ones, they're pretty unforgiving. And you see, I just picked up the axe, and this is one of my favorite parts of this video coming up. This big head. Bam, that moving sprite is just very impressive for, at that time. That would have been, these guys can give you a handful. So once again, a lot of it is just pattern memorization, knowing your enemies. It's got its own theme similar to Super Mario. I do think this is a better balanced game than Super Castlevania 4, I should say. And you can see I'm avoiding that blue potion there because it's not going to do anything for me. I'm trying not to fall off this ledge, and I'm trying to hit for dear life. Okay, so here I go. And here's another destructible object. Pretty cool. Destructible environments. Bam. Once again, if you are not that half inch on that ledge, you will drop off and it will cost you a life. That's no fun. So once again here, that's kind of tricky. As you can see, that platform kind of lowered and you're left with two small ledges. And to be honest, I would say this part here was one of the worst parts of filming this video. Just that end sequence with the classic, I don't know what you want to call them, dragon heads that are throwing flames at you. So once again, here I go. I've got the axe, and I'm gonna point out again how awesome is that this is pre God of War, pre any of that good stuff. So and I've learned there just to attack quickly. And it's really hard to judge this game on a difficulty scale because in general, games were a lot more difficult in the console era. It was more bang for buck just because the attention spans were maybe a little bit longer, and when you bought a game, you really had to kind of master that game. And I'm playing this on an emulator, so. And hopefully, I can get through this part this time without dying, so. So, this is really cool. Once again, there's the platform. I've got the boomerang. I jump. Got the boomerang, and I'm playing it safe this time, I believe. I'm trying to remember which capture session this was. Hopefully I got the right one. Okay, there we go. So he's out of there. We're walking down the stairs. I think at this point I'm probably pausing for yeah, so at this point I think I actually just did a complete redo over, so I think I might have loaded a save state and just went right back to it just to test this level out again. And once again, guys, these Medusa heads, these things are ruthless. You can duck them, jump, dodge, however you want. They're going to give you a pain in the neck, so. I kind of prefer the aggressive approach on this particular run through I'm looking at now, and I'm dead again. And yeah, guys, this would have been one of the games that when I was a kid, you'd sit and play it for probably 6 months and only beat the 3rd level or something like that. So. Which I do like, and once again, the mechanics on these games are razor sharp. This is boy, I want to say I got back into retro games about 3 to 4 years ago, and I was kind of a late bloomer to the Castlevania series. These were probably some of the best games ever made. So here we go again, guys. I'm going for another attempt. And I think at this point, my goal is really just to kind of get to the second boss and just, without being too much of a perfectionist, kind of show the second boss. And again, the difficulty's subjective. It really depends on how long you play these games. I will say, once again, I originally wanted to do the Game Boy Advance Harmony of Dissonance because it's probably a little more forgiving on the difficulty. Not only that, this game has a linear map, whereas the newer Castlevanias take from Metroid in that you're kind of revealing a map as you go, or you're finding pieces to a map. Let's see, guys. Got one health bar here, one health unit. And once again, I picked up the boomerang. That's probably your go-to weapon in these games. And I figured out by this point not to really play around with these guys here because, as I said, they can really give you a harder time than the bosses can. And I don't know if that's necessary. It's a little much, but okay, so another cool level here. And I paused it probably to check Bandicam. So here I go. And these Minotaur type creatures below, they're gonna give you your minimal power-ups you probably need to defeat a boss if you were just to come into this dry. I think in this particular take I'm just gonna try to avoid them and just move on. And this is where I basically got to for this playthrough. And kind of really what I wanted to showcase, I guess, about the Castlevania games, the big moving parts. And once again, I've only got one life bar, so, oh man, that wasn't good. So here's another do-over, no power-ups, just the bare minimum. Pattern memorization. Gonna go down, grab this, move down, and here he is. Here's our big boss. Now, if you'll notice, I only have what I guess I referred to earlier as ammunition. I only have 4 power-ups, so I only have. I just used them all. Those were my projectiles. So, the point of this boss is you're essentially chipping him down till you get to his head, and it's just one of the things I love about the series. It's just really cool. The bosses with the destructible, movable parts and stuff. At this point, I'm probably just trying to capture footage and may get close to killing him, may not. He's close, we're about even. And I got hit by a rock, so, yep. That was a close one. But anyways, guys, that is Castlevania Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis. So, I don't know, the rest of this video is probably just going to be fodder as far as attempting that boss. But that's Castlevania Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis. Definitely recommend it. Looking forward to hearing comments and questions. Thank you.